Hey, RetconRaider here. Today I thought we'd take a quick look at yet another crowdfunding project that's caught my eye. Today I thought we'd talk about Fell Seal, Arbiter's Mark by Six Eyes Studio. So, what is Fell Seal? Well, according to the developers, it's going to be a tactical JRPG featuring hand-drawn art, a mature story, and what looks to be a surprisingly deep character class system. Heavily inspired by classic JRPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre, Fell Seal is intended to be reminiscent of these classics, but with its own modern innovations and unique twists. The game is intended to be a story-driven experience, with handcrafted battle scenarios intended to provide roughly 30 hours worth of content from start to finish, with an additional 10 hours of optional content. The story takes place in a fantasy setting where all the kingdoms in the world are ruled by the Immortal Council, a group of immortals who saved the world thousands of years ago, and who have sought to maintain stability and order ever since. They do this with the assistance of their mortal agents, the Arbiters, who act as both their enforcers as well as the protectors of the common citizenry. The player takes control of one such group of Arbiters, led by Captain Kyrie, who inadvertently stumbles upon a plot that reveals corruption in the Arbiters' ranks. And as the story progresses, the player will steadily uncover more and more about this conspiracy, eventually confronting an evil that threatens to undo everything the Immortal Council has accomplished. The story itself will be told through a series of simple cutscenes, but the main focus of the game will be on the turn-based tactical battles. The game will feature a conventional initiative-based turn system, with characters moving on a conventional square-based grid. Character turns will be handled with a conventional 2-action system, with a character receiving one movement action and one standard action, which they can use in whatever order they prefer. Every battle will take place on a set-piece map featuring over 40 different hand-drawn environments, as well as varying levels of elevation and hidden treasures to discover. The player will generally control up to 6 characters at a time, but they can recruit additional characters to fill their ranks. The game will include 3 predefined story characters for the player to control, but the player will also be able to hire additional mercenaries with custom names and appearances. Combat in Fell Seal is designed to be challenging, and the player should expect to see at least some of their units fall in combat. When this happens, the unit will survive, but they'll be injured, meaning that they can't be used for a set number of battles. This will encourage the player to recruit and train extra characters, so they can rotate in replacements for anyone who gets injured. Over time, the player will accrue both experience points and ability points, which are earned separately. Experience points count towards a character's overall level, which raises their base attributes, and ability points are instead used to advance a character's class mastery, unlocking new spells or combat maneuvers. There are going to be over 20 core classes in the game, starting with a small number of basic classes. As the player learns new abilities in their base class of choice, they'll gain access to additional advanced classes, and the game will also feature a number of secret classes that can only be unlocked through other means. Each character can equip up to 2 classes at once, gaining access to all of the abilities they've unlocked for both classes. The player can use this to customize their characters to fit their preferred strategies, such as by creating a heavily armored knight with a bit of healing magic on the side, or a crossbow-toting scout who also has training as an assassin, just in case they get stuck in close combat. There will be over 200 different abilities for the player to discover, so the player probably won't be lacking for options. The developers are also stressing the importance of cosmetic customization, and the game will allow the player to have a decent amount of control over the color and design of the non-story characters that they recruit, including the ability to insert custom character portraits. The developers have already spent the past 2 years working on Fell Seal, and it shows. The project already looks very promising. The current crowdfunding campaign is set at a rather modest goal of just $40,000 US, and these funds are intended to help pay for additional polish and expansion for the core game. Assuming that the crowdfunding campaign is successful, and everything goes as planned, the developers are currently hoping to release the game in July of 2018. The PC release will be done through Steam, with support for Windows, Linux, and Mac operating systems. And the developers have also confirmed that the game will be releasing on the Xbox One. Unfortunately, the crowdfunding campaign hasn't managed to gain much traction just yet. The campaign ends on October 30th, and they still haven't managed to reach their funding goal. I think that's a real shame, because like I said, the game already looks very promising. You can find out more about the game by visiting the official website, or the official crowdfunding campaign over on Kickstarter. The developers have also put out a short playable demo, showcasing an early version of the first 2 story battles. So if you think this is the sort of game that you might be interested in, then I encourage you to go check it out. Links are in the description.